Hi, my name is Joe Jackson. I'm a journalist, author, broadcaster, and interviewer. In fact, on March the 1st, 1985, after interviewing one of my music heroes, Leonard Cohen, I decided to become an interviewer, mostly to track down more of my heroes to talk with. Talking with Leonard had left me feeling transcendent. But also, on the night I made that decision, I noticed that on my bedsit wall, I had pinned the cover of the Scott Walker album Scott 4. Why? Well, I'd loved the album since 1972, but also I loved the quote on its back cover. It was by Albert Camus and said, "A man's work is nothing but a slow trek to rediscover through the detours of art those one or two great and simple images in whose presence his heart first opened." That became a mantra of mine as I tracked down more of my heroes to talk with, and not surprisingly, I set my sights on the historically reclusive Scott Walker. As it transpires, he had read in 1985 a review I wrote of the album Climate of Hunter. And more than that, he said to me a decade later when we finally met that it helped him crystallize his own definition of what the music on the album had been. In other words, put simply, I said it was Schubert meets Schoenberg in a rock setting. And so when Scott was choosing the few to whom he would give an interview, he chose me to represent Ireland, and I did on the same day 2 interviews, one for a newspaper and one for a magazine. At one point, I will make podcasts based on that remarkable hour and a half I spent with Scott Walker. But here, I want to let you hear him reveal a little secret to me. We all remember his hit, Joanna, but Scott told me that he actually wrote part of the lyric. Yet the part of this story I really like refers to his drunken years, circa 1972, when, while recording a Hal Sharper and Michel Legrand song called I Still See You, he inserted the lyric, "I see the sunlit glows to dance their hair."
So no, I wouldn't exactly been smashed doing the sessions, but I would have had, say, a hell of a hangover or something. I wouldn't have been preparing for them very much.
So someone did say that you, when you recorded the song "I Still See You" or "I Still See Love" Legrand, that you were drunk and you insisted on changing Legrand's lyric to a point where now, if you listen to it, it's pretty indecipherable. Do you remember that, or maybe was that one of those forgotten moments?
It's probably right. Yeah,
it's a nice song.
Yeah, yeah.
But the lyric, when I've seen what was Legrand's original lyric, and I like your change.
Well, I would have too, or I probably wouldn't have done it. See, I wouldn't have changed the lyric that was good, but I would have thought was a good lyric. I often change lyrics, unless I remember. I got a terrible rocket from a guy one time who wrote some movie theme, and I changed his lyric, and of course he wouldn't let us put it out. He had a very bad reaction about it, and it was. But I remember changing. I would change mainstream stuff that the company wanted me to like. So what's the Joanna, for instance? I wrote say quite a lot of that, and in and out of just to get it so it wasn't so. I don't know that we should say that. I might get sued, and then I better not say that.
All right, okay. Just incidentally, Joanna was actually a favourite song of my father's, and my last girlfriend still adores it. And I always thought the verse, like where it is, you make the man a child again, is indicative of Jackie and of Brad.
I wrote that. That's the one. That's the change I made.
You breathe your smile, lived in your eyes completely.
Yeah, I wrote those all the way through, and I wrote "You May Remember Me and Change Your Mind," the last line.
But that other one, I think that is very poetic, and thank you very much, because I reviewed it. I got that French compilation about a year ago, and I reviewed it in the Irish Times. And I was actually saying those who dismiss everything you did, which is only interpretation as opposed to composition, can't fault these lyrics. So I quoted that in the Irish Times saying, "What's wrong with this?" And I really didn't know you had written it.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Well,
it's very touching. It's still, as I say, it's resonant for a particular woman who remembers hearing it at 17, and she's now in an extramarital relationship, and there's something about the magic of the romance that still is captured for her, in that she turns Joanna into a man. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's changing it back and forth.
Sure.
So if it still resonates for her at that level, I think that's still valid, don't you?
Sure, of course.
What about that changing of and the question of gender in your songs? I mean, is much of the tensions in your work rooted in tension over sexuality, going back?
I don't know how far back we can go with that.
All right.
It is not it is not as intentional as it is intuitive, I would imagine. And so I don't. It's not something I would have thought about deliberately doing.
Right.
Hi, Joe Jackson here again, and my guess is that many of you who love the work of the Walker brothers and Scott Walker have never heard Walker himself speak. As I say, there will be more podcasts based on the interview I did with Scott, and in the meantime, if you want to read the articles, check joejacksoninterviewer.com.